I learned that I may love fashion and I may love every part of it, but the people that buy it have no idea sometimes. They buy it for the brand, they buy it for the things, and it's sometimes you need to humble yourself. Sometimes you need to get off your fashion pedestal and
Welcome to Fashion Career Stories. My name is Lucas SILVA EDWARDS. I am a career strategist and an executive coach with more than 10 years of experience in the fashion and luxury industry here in Paris, France. My role with this podcast is to help you design a successful life and career in one of the most glamorous industries on the planet, but also one of the most competitive. For that reason, I have interviewed fashion professionals at different stages of their career in order to decode the best practices, tactics, and strategies. My hope for you is that you will find in this conversation some inspiration and insight that will help you build your professional journey in the world of fashion and luxury. In this episode, I will receive Timothy HUPIN. Tim is one of my former students at the Institut Français. He comes from Belgium and has worked for Off-White and Serre. What I love about Tim is his authenticity and generosity. This is why I wanted to kick off this season talking to him. As you will see, Tim doesn't hesitate to go deep in his personal journey into the fashion industry, from his teenage years to his experience in retail and buying, from his passion for journaling to what does it take to manage and train a team. All along this episode, you will discover how to overcome anxiety when you start a new position, how to trust your intuition, and get some insight on how to design your career strategy. I hope you enjoyed this wide-ranging conversation with Timothy HUPIN. Hi Tim, how are you?
hello, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for being here. So I'm really happy to have you in this podcast because we were talking a little bit off podcast and we have known each other for a little bit now for quite some times. And what I love about you, it's always your optimism and your fresh take about what's going to be next for me, how I'm going to be able to build my next career step. And and from the moment I met you, you have been doing so many different things. And if I'm not mistaken, today you work at Serre on the CRM part. So that's quite an achievement, and it's a great place, a great brand. But before we go there and understand how you arrived there, maybe can you let us come back a little bit back in the past and tell us how did you start enjoying fashion? What was kind of the starting point about your passion for fashion?
Oh, I love this question because it brings so much for me. Like personally, like it's a happy thing and also a sad thing. Is I know that when I was a kid, I didn't really care about fashion. I was not like a fashion kid. I was not like reading Vogue in my bedroom or whatever. But I realized that I did care about my image when I think someone of my family made a comment because I have a twin brother, and someone made a comment like, oh, he said like, oh, we see whose twin is better looking than the other, and obviously like he was looking at my, and then I was like, okay, like, and then I remember I'm very competitive, so the next time I saw the part of my family, I dressed up like so much, and then he was like, oh, you made an effort, and I was like, yeah, like, and in my head I was so happy. And that was like the first touch I had of like self-image, which was not really fashion, but more self-image. And where I really got in touch with fashion is at a kind of, again, a low point in my life. I was part of like this association and I had to leave and I was alone in my bedroom and I was kind of bored and I didn't feel fulfilled. And I looked at like the piles of clothes that I had and I was like, let's have some fun with clothes. So I started like mix and matching. Obviously, it was horrible at first, but I don't like. It's always looking back. You're like, oh, why did I wear this? But it was always like so much fun. And I started like first I got into like the suits industry, like tailoring, mixing, matching tailoring, and color combinations. And then somehow I got into, I don't know how I became, I think I got a magazine, or no, it was because of sneakers. I started getting a magazine. I think it was High Snobiety, my first ever magazine. And there was an article of Off-White, and I was reading it, and it was Virgil Abloh, and it touched me so much that I started reading up on fashion itself. And it was like through like first luxury, and then I got into independent Belgian designers because like, I'm from Belgium. I read everywhere Antwerp, Antwerp, Antwerp. What's all it's about? And then I saw, I went into it and I just lost myself in this whole world. And then I realized like, okay, like fashion, I like it. It touches me personally and creatively through my past and now. And then I wanted to do more business, and then I got more into the creative stuff. And then I think when I really, then I started working at Zara because I needed money to pay for a master's. Well, I always thought I'm going to do a master's in, well, I management somewhere in the Netherlands. Then I said, okay, I need to pay for it. So I go into Zara. Obviously, not the best brand for fast fashion, but what I did appreciate is like they they take trends and you have to not like do analysis and then you have it in the stores already. Like you see Kim Kardashian wear something, it's in the store already. So you have to be like fast, and I understood this fast pace of not fashion, but like social media and everything, and you felt it. And I remember it was a client. She was she was from Vietnam, and she came up to me. I was just folding pants like everyone does at Zara, and she was like, "Young man, I need your help." And I was like, "What do you need? Do you need a size or something?" She's like, "No, no, no. I need a whole garderobe, whole clothing for my summer working. I just started working. I need my own clothing." And I was like, "Okay." So I took her through the whole store, kind of dressed her and stuff, and my manager was kind of like angry. She was like, "What are you doing? Like you're wasting time." And I was like, "No, no, no, wait." And then she bought everything I gave her, and then I was like, "This is really fun, and I really like it." And it was something where I felt accomplished and stuff. And that's just like the first connection of fashion, and through books, magazines, all of that. It was very humbling as well because I started in retail. In retail, I started. It was touching, opening boxes, all the clothes, and it's there where it started. And then obviously
Okay,
I
so that's
was studying
before we
with
go a little bit further, because you 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 explained a lot of things, and I think I want to underline few of those before we go a little bit further in your career. Thank you for all of the authenticity about what you explained about your twin brother and how it come from, because it is a really personal topic. And at what age was that memory? Around what
well,
age it happened?
well, like I was like young, like in self-development, self-doubt, everything that a teenager had, I had it, and then I had that comment. It was crazy.
So more or less what, 15, 16, or even younger?
No, no, younger, like 12. Like,
Oh,
like I think
12.
at 12 years old, I started thinking about how I was wearing things.
Okay. And what you were explaining about like the magazines, High Snobiety or I Beast, I don't remember enough why. What age more or less what was that?
I was like 19, 20 is like when I moved out. So I actually like I went to study in Netherlands.
Okay.
I'm originally from Belgium. So at 18, I
Okay.
decided to actually, I always wanted to go to America, which now looking back, I'm like, why? Um, but I wanted to move out and experience something new. And like, I don't know. I don't think I was thinking about it. I don't think I was thinking about it that deep. But now looking back, I think it was really a need to move out and discover something new and be in a different environment because I always liked to have being in a different environment. And it was then like at 19, 20 where I really started to look into like what do I want, what do I need, because from then on, like from before that, it was always like, oh, what's best for me, what, how can I get a job? At 20, I was like, okay, like what do I like, what, why am I doing this. And then there is where I got into like magazines and stuff.
Okay. So if I understand well, for the first kind of fashion, like a breakthrough was at 12 with the comment family. Then from 12 to 19 was kind of, okay, I put attention to what I wear. During that period, is there like any trends, any source of inspiration that you had? Because you said like the magazine and kind of digging into fashion was around 19. So in your teenagers, anything specific that kind of develop or inspire you at that time?
It's a bit embarrassing, but I don't mind. It was Justin Bieber at the time. Yeah, I was pop star Justin Bieber. That I was like, okay, he looks good. How can I look like him? And then I had the hair, I had the caps. It was that, and then on the flips, like it was that, and then on the whole other side, I think I had a period where I developed also a music taste for rap, and it was like the whole rap industry. Like I was sagging my pants, I had like the hoodies that were way too big. I looked like Eminem, but a really bad version. But it was like a source of inspiration. I know I connected with it somehow because of the lyrics, of the songs, of the beats, and I also started doing hip hop dancing. So again, the inspiration came from dancing, from how were the people that I was looking up to in dance dressing. Okay, I want to dress like them. So it was kind of a back and forth of these things.
Basketball maybe as well, because I remember you play basketball. Not
Yeah,
so much.
basketball. I think is that whole culture is the American basketball rap culture. Definitely, when I was growing up, it was like Kobe Bryant, then Shaquille O'Neal doing like these crazy things, and I always loved movement and the way my clothes move with me. And still to this day, I love it because I want to be comfortable in my clothes and I want to be able to move and that my clothes will move with me. And at a young age, it was that. It was like, I want to be comfortable. I want to look stylish. So I looked at basketball because basketball is movement. And I remember I was like fascinated by like seeing seeing a basketball player run, jump, and then you see like the jersey like come up and down, and I was like, this is really cool, like because you see this in basketball, but also in hip hop and stuff. When you move, like the movements were just in the colors, and that's the thing.
Oh, that's an interesting take because yeah, it's about the design of the clothes and how they perform. So really a designer approach to the clothing, and you add the comfort and then the style that goes with that. So
Yeah, but
it is really interesting.
Unconsciously, I
Yeah,
was thinking
yeah,
about
that's
it,
why.
and I didn't connect it to fashion. I connected
Yeah,
to, I'm gonna dress like this. Yeah, I'm fun.
yeah,
But
yeah,
thinking and talking about it now, like I see that I had a connection to fashion. I just didn't know it was fashion.
yeah. And talking about that, you say when you first read that interview in the magazine with Virgil Abloh, it really touched you, really moved you. Do you remember what specifically touched you and moved you at that moment when you start reading about it?
I think what touched me was, well, Virgil was always about everyone can design. Everyone is a designer. Everyone if you want it, you can do it. If you want to make a clothing, just print something on a T-shirt and you're a designer. I think it was that mentality. It kind of because I got into it, and I think in the tailoring industry, there's a lot of pressure on the rules, and you have to do this, you have to do that. And then when I read it, like when I read it, I felt liberated. I was like, oh, like I can do whatever I want and call it design. And I think the interview was about that, like about his brand Off Whites, that it was not like, yeah, it has an amazing price, but it was not, he wasn't making it for, he was making it for the people, but also for the young people looking at it, like looking at fashion, looking, and I was like, I can do this. And then I was like, yeah, like, it touched me, and also like where it came from, the background he had that was not like a fashion industry thing.
Mm-hmm.
He did architecture, which is, yeah, I do see the connection now, but at the time I was like, oh, like this is really not like fashion. So it kind of institutionalized fashion for me, and that's what Virgil is like to me.
Yeah, it opened. That was his main focus, to create bridges between the fashion industry and that live in that white tower and the rest of the world, and say, no, look, guys, everybody can come and have a part of it, and let's imagine that part together and see what it looked like. And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's what he did in the 10 years he was at his top. He really opened the doors for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so coming back to what you were saying, that you were 19, working at Zara, kind of being in the Netherlands. What did you study in the Netherlands? What was kind of the first step for you in terms of studies?
The first step was I wanted to always go to the US. One, because I was obsessed with basketball, and I don't know why I had this dream of like playing professionally, but obviously I'm too small. I'm like 175. I should have been a freak athlete to like be in NBA. But also just the culture, and but then one aspect I liked about universities in the US is that I could pick my courses. I could pick what I wanted to learn, which I found very constricting in like the Belgium universities that I was like trying to apply for, because I was interested in so many stuff. I remember my dad and my mom were frustrated with me because every week I was having another plan for my life. So I remember I wanted to go into medicine. Then I wanted to be like a physiotherapist. Then I wanted to be an architect. Then I wanted to be into communication. Then I wanted to do business. There were so many things that were going through my head. And I also left science and math. And I was like, whoa, like Tim, like, it's too much. So then I found this program called Liberal Arts and Sciences. And it's very big in the Netherlands at the moment, because there's a lot of people that went to the US and then came back with this newfound like kind of way of doing education, and then wanted to bring it to the Netherlands. So I found three universities, applied to all three, got picked for some interviews, and then I finally got into like one in the Netherlands. It was Tilburg University. I was happy. Obviously, the university is very known for like masters in business and very international. I didn't care. At the moment, I didn't care. I found a program that let me do. My first year was getting like philosophy, getting economics, getting like behavioral science, getting humanities. Like everything was in 1 year, and then I could choose my second year and my third year what I wanted to get into, and then within that I can also choose some courses. So I was like, okay, like even though it's restricted a bit and it's the European way, I still have some leeway somewhere. And I always thought of myself as being a holistic person rather than a specific person. So that's why I went to the Netherlands. It was because it gave me the opportunity to study more things at once.
Okay. And during that period, how was fashion part of your life, or how did you make any connection, or it was still not like something that you were thinking about?
Yeah. So my first year, it was not really part of my life. I was struggling in my first year because I was joining associations. I was trying to make friends, and also like I wasn't the best student. I am not the best student, because obviously like my mind always goes everywhere, because when I see one topic and I want to talk about something like within that topic that's not really what they're talking about, they don't like it. It's what I don't like about some educational systems. But my fashion part of it was, again, like I always went for comfort. I always went like, okay, I'm going to school. And also I was thinking about like, oh, how does an American I wear hoodies all the time. I wear a hoodie right now, but I wear hoodies all the time. And fashion was not a big part of it. It was always about like just having a proper, I think being proper, which was most of my life was that. There's also pressure from my family was being proper all the time. for an example, like if we were going on I remember we had to do like a 12-hour flight to LA because we wanted to visit one of my family members. I couldn't wear sweatpants. I was like, Mom, I want to wear sweatpants. It's like, no, you're wearing pants and a shirt. And I was like, what? Like 12 hours? It's way too much. There's no pants and a shirt. I was like, oh. So that's a line that I had until my second year, where I got into like fashion. Like I got into the world of fashion, the world of self-expression and stuff.
Okay. And from there, how did that kind of discovering of fashion and maybe more the history of it and discovering more things, how did that transform into, okay, I want to work in fashion? What was kind of the element that sparked that?
I think there was a lot going on in my life at that moment. I remember when I got into fashion, I actually started a blog. Why? I don't know, because I felt that there was something needed, and I was like, oh, let's start a blog, and I started like writing about hats for men, long T-shirts. I started like taking pictures of everything, and then I think what really got me thinking I want to be in this industry was when I found a connection between management and business and the fashion industry.
So you were saying like, yeah, connection between fashion and business?
Yeah, exactly. I think it really sparked when I had to write my thesis. And obviously I did a business course, but my interest, my very passion was fashion, and I was into creativity. And then my tutor was like, what do you want to write about? And I was like, I want to write about fashion. He was like, yeah, but you can't just write about fashion and stuff. He's like, okay. And then I took a approach of like finance, like the financial backing of fashion, of the fashion industry, is how innovation is like financed. So then I started researching, and I really liked it as well. And I started learning about the companies, the history, the creation, more in a business sense. While next to it, I was also reading books and magazines and watching like runways, talking to like, I was with like my ex-girlfriend at the time was also into fashion, but not as into me as me. It was more like she just liked the idea of it, but I was like into like the history, so I started talking about it, and I had great friends as well. Honestly, like, I would not be here without these friends, where they were enabling me. They were so like when I was when we were doing something, playing games. We're playing card games, and I wanted to talk about fashion. They were like super interested. They were like, "Oh, what about this or this?" And then we did. When I didn't know something, they were like, "Oh, research it." And I was like, "Okay, I researched it." And then I did like small monologues about fashion at game night. So it's where I really thought like, okay, this is where I want to be. Like I know where I want to be, and then it was a bit about the money sometimes, because I was like, yeah, like there's money in fashion, so it's that it's like a array of things. And I think it was I wanted to study it because I saw that there were programs that mixes business and fashion, and there it clicked. I was like, okay, this is what I need to do, because I have a business background, I have a passion for creation and everything. This is like 1 + 1 is 2, the math equation. I have to do this.
Okay, that's great. I like what you say about finding an environment that enable you to express, talk, and kind of go deeper, because it's true, it's really precious. And sometimes when you are passionate about one topic, and here it's fashion, and you don't have the people around you that let you talk about it. But sometimes you keep it for yourself, or you let go because you say, oh, maybe it's not appropriate, or I should not think about those things. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, when you have the people who are interested, or at least listen, even they're not expert, it changes everything. Yeah, because from there you can go dig and express. So it is a great thing. do you remember during that time what was kind of the monologues that you were doing on what kind of topic? What was the interest at that moment?
I think at that moment I was exploring the luxury fashion industry, and I think I was blessed and it was destiny. I had I had people coming from very rich families, which they were buying Dior and stuff, and I was very interested in the companies, and I read up on it, and it was something like a point of interest. And I think that's why they enabled me, because it was a point of interest. And it was also then it was that point, and then also streetwear was there. So we're talking about streetwear. It was, I think, a high rise of Supreme, Stussy, all these kind of brands. Then I remember Gucci was also something I was looking at. I remember I don't think it was about that time, but I remember when Alessandro Michele took over Gucci. It really hit me this femininity again, and I loved how fashion connected sociology, which I also studied a bit in the Netherlands, and creation, and I loved that conversation. And that's a conversation that we had, and then they were asked, the thing is, I was kind of sometimes their fashion advisor. They were asking me "Oh, Tim, what do you think about neckties on a casual day?" And then I was like, "Oh, let's go into the whole social aspect of this and why I think." And I don't know, I think I felt I was like, why I think the necktie should be a casual thing, and it's only society that pushes this. And I was like, capitalism. And then they were like, "Oh, Tim, you're being heavy." I was like, "I know, I'm sorry, but you're asking me a question."
What should I do?
Yeah.
I just want to know that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
But I think I really want to stress that it helped me because I'm an extroverted thinker. So the way I think is with other people. The way doing a conversation like this fuels my mind more than just staying inside and reading and stuff. It is how I talk. It is from research and from being interested in books and stuff. But how I develop my ideas about stuff is with other people. And I've met other people that have the opposite. They want to first have their own ideas, and then they can talk about it. And then I love to challenge them, and then they'll challenge me with more facts. So it's like a give and take. And I think that was kind of the conversation that we had, because I had a very introverted friend as well. And it was a give and take. And he had facts, I had just experience, and I'm very observative. So it was that, actually. It was more very sociology, but we put fashion in. I always put fashion into it. And I remember, I remember also just when we had to write papers, I always try to put a fashion brand into it, because I knew that, look, oh yeah, we're talking about microeconomics. Okay, let me talk about the fashion industry, Levi's and stuff. And then I read up on the brand. Then I go into class, I present, and then they ask me questions about the history, and then I know about the history. So it was me really forcefully. I feel I forcefully put fashion into my business thing, because I was passionate about it, and I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted other people, because this is the thing. I think it was at a time where fashion was not yet so popular as it today. I remember when I was talking about Balenciaga to the people of my school, they were like, "Who is Balenciaga? What is?" So it was quite an interesting time.
I love what you just said about that all along your studies, you try to implement fashion in all the aspects. And correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that it feels that you like about fashion is because it touches the business, the sociology, the anthropology, the image, and the music. So because of that, there is so many aspects of what we call fashion that exist. But according to the way you look at it, it becomes something else, a mix of so many other things. Yeah. So it's endless possibilities to talk about it and to exchange ideas, to confront, and you mix the history with it. So I think it feels that it's the mix that you loved about it.
I love that about it. And it's so I had my graduation. So I graduated from IFM Thurs Thursday, and we had a bunch of speeches from like some the head of fashion from LVMH. But I remember this speech from the Masters of Design, and she says like we as creatives, we always doubt if our creations are on the best purpose for ourselves. And she says sometimes we think we're anthropologists because we look at like history, culture, and everything, and we think this is what we need to do. Sometimes we look at architecture and we think this is what we want to do, and that's the struggle of being a creative. Is where is my creativity uh, best expressed? And I think it's to come back to. I felt very connected to this because even though I'm not like designing or whatever, I'm still like creative in a business mindset, and it does like I do feel like this. I do feel like oh like why am I doing this while am I doing business? Well, I could have done like sociology because fashion touches this. Like I read so many fashion books and fashion talks about sociology. Why am I not doing this? Fashion sometimes is also connected to economics, the state of the world, and I'm like, why am I not doing this? So it was something that really touches like the essential part of what is fashion to me, and not just the commercial selling of products. Is this? It's like it touches so many things, and it is such a commentary on so many things, and that's what's really like interested me, and to go more into that.
Yeah. And before we jump a little bit more in what you kind of the more professional side and what you have been doing, if you had to give one or two advice on people who are kind of, starting their life or teenagers or going to college, figuring out what they want to do, what advice would you give them today?
I think advice would be curious all the time, and listen to your intuition, because I think what happened for me is that I was always curious about everything. Like I said, I was like, oh, I want to do architecture, I want to do this. I was so curious, and then when I got into like business and fashion, it clicked. I was like, this is what I need, and it's just listening. And obviously, it takes trial and error. It takes like to be open yourself up to things, and I always say like it's hard because it's scary. It's a lot of anxiety to go into something that you don't know. Definitely, fashion sometimes can be very judgmental, but I think it's like everyone has gone through it. Everyone has gone through a stage where they didn't know anything because that's you always start from zero. Like even the best basketball players, they started from zero. Yes, they were extremely talented, but they had to work. And I think if you find something that you love, don't get discouraged by not knowing something because not knowing it just opens the opportunity to knowing more.
Makes sense. It's true. It's a discovery, and sometimes we want to kind of have the certainty or find a straight line to where we want to go. And most of the time, it is, as you say, curiosity, go this way, go back another way, kind of take moments also to reassemble our ideas and say, okay, I like this, I like that. Oh, here there is as you say, fashion and business that exists. Oh, how can I go explore that? So it's true. Always curiosity. I think it's an excellent point to kind of figure out what you want to do and not kind of close yourself too fast. Even though you were commenting on the education system, sometimes they force on us to close a little bit too fast on what we want to do, but we have to kind of fight back to stay open and curious about everything.
Yeah,
because that's where everything
100%.
lies.
Because the new world, the world of tomorrow is not a world where you do one thing. These one thing businesses, these one thing like, oh, I'm good at this, they're not gonna last because AI is coming up so fast. So I really like this is what I'm trying to do as well for myself. be holistic, always think about other things within one subject. I'm doing like what I'm doing right now. I feel that I am always bringing so many different things to then have like now my job that I have at the moment, or the job that I've had before, and all the jobs that I have. I always try to bring more insights, maybe creativity, maybe sociology, maybe something culture, maybe architecture. I always try to bring it because that's what will make you stand out from the rest.
Yeah, it's an excellent point what you're saying. Like try to bring insight from other, classes, themes, experiences, and so coming back to that, you were saying that one of your first fashion experience was in retail at Zara.
Yeah.
What did you learn over there, or in retail in general? What are the insights that you got from there?
So one big insight is the logistical part of fashion. And definitely, I think I had the insight from one of the best logistical companies in the world. Why do I say this, and how do I back this up? If we were out of stock on Monday for something, we would get it on Thursday. In fashion, this is crazy. Like the fastness of things that go through Zara, the trends, but just the clothes, like how fast, and it was like logistically, but also within the store. Like within the store, I remember we had to do a replenishment every 2 hours of 200 pieces. That means you have to go to the stock, pick the pieces, then find the pieces, then put it on a rack, scan them all, then go to the shop and then put them back. That's all. And you have to do that in 1 hour. It was efficiency to the max, and it was working because the clients were buying. So that was very interesting. The second part of it was obviously like I started being very nice to customers and trying to help them, which was not normal for a Zara store. In Zara store, normally you don't talk to freaking customers and you get yelled at for it. But they enabled me to do it, and then more and more customers came in, and then after a year that I worked there, they made that Zara where I worked the hub of customer service, meaning that they were trying different services for clients in our store because it was rated as the best store, let's say. And also in terms of operation, it was also one of the best stores because we were very fast at getting clothes in and out. And then the next part is the visual merchandising, which was a creative thing where I helped out a lot. Also, teamwork was one of the best things, and I learned management as well because the more I was in this company, the more new people came, the more I had to train them, the more I had to like manage the people, because sometimes the managers at Zara, I'm going to be honest, are not the best. So we had to do it ourselves. So it was a lot of things that I got from Zara that I still like hold dear to this day. Like I will say, literally, the teamwork is something that I really see, and in retail, it's important. Customer service, is always the first. I know it's not like in Zara normally, but it's always there. Everything they do is for the customer. Customer is always first. And then I think, like visually, like creative visual merchandising is something that I've done there, and it was really cool.
Okay, so that's super interesting. Yeah, I like what you said, that even today you still hold dear to those insights.
Yeah.
It's true that retail, at the end of the day, it's kind of at the heart of what is the fashion industry. And it's exactly what you said. At the end, in that store, that's where everything comes to life. So you have the customer that come and connect with the clothes. You have understanding the supply chain, how to bring the clothes there. Then you have to understand how you're going to kind of set up the stage for that connection between the customer and the clothes. So you have the visual merchandising. And then, as you said, at the end, you cannot do that alone. So you have to have the team and work all together. And all of that, you learn it inside the store. You cannot learn it outside or just by reading books or or magazines or looking at a runway. That's not what the business or the day-to-day is. So I like the way you explain all of that and connect it all together. And what sorry, you wanted to add something?
No, I just wanted to add that when I have now I have an intern and she worked in retail, and I had another intern before that did not work in retail, and I directly felt the difference. It's not that I say that it was bad or not, but I felt a difference. The one I have now is teamwork. We do this together. I do this, you do that, and it was very much. The other one was more like, yes, she did her job well, but she didn't extend herself above what her job was or is. So it's kind of a difference, and I don't think I'm criticizing not working in retail, but it's something that I notice directly when someone has worked in retail. I'm like, yeah, I feel that you work in retail, because there is something that you learn in retail that I don't think you can learn anywhere else.
Yeah, it's an excellent point, and it's true. And it's good to keep that in mind. Like, even if you're not passionate about retail per se, those are the skills that gonna make you good at what you do outside. Maybe when you work indirectly in the brand or at the headquarters, and as you said, people feel it, notice it, those few details. Yeah. But that was an excellent point.
Because you're one with the customer. That's the most you come from retail, the most important thing that I notice is that you know what a customer wants. You know how they think, you know how they act, you know how they process information. And that's the most, I think, beside all of the, professional things that I've mentioned, that's also something that is unexcusable, that to this day, I hold, dear to my heart. And it's something that I push in my interviews and stuff, that I know what I have touched base with clients. I've touched base with people that buy fashion and how they think and how they proceed. I think that's one of the most important things I've learned in my life at the moment.
No, that's excellent. And how all those other insights, how did they fuse the next experience? Because I know after that you had a couple of experiences. So can you tell me a little bit more about that and how you have used those insights, and what other insights have you gathered along your professional journey?
So after Zara, I went to study at IFM, and then I had the opportunity to do an internship in showrooms and stuff, doing dresser for shows, being backstage at a showroom, helping out in a showroom. It was all that, and I think what I brought and how I sold myself coming from Zara, and I knew what they needed. I was look, I come from Zara. You know what it is. 200 pieces of clothes in a store every hour. We need to replenish it. I'll do it. And it really fueled a sense of I'm a hard worker. It's kind of like a badge. Sometimes I use it as a badge. Look, I've done this horrible job because in fashion, it's a horrible job, they say. I've done this horrible job. I can do whatever, anything. And I kind of let this fuel me as well, and let them in more other then obviously I also did retail for Off-White, is where I also said I worked at Zara, and I said look, it's fast fashion, but I've learned teamwork and stuff, and they loved it. They loved that I worked at a place where it's not fashion, it's all about team, and they loved it. That's how Zara is actually going more and more and progressing more and more in my career. Now, I think in my new job, it's less and less relevant. But what is most relevant is this teamwork, this logistical work, because I also do something a lot. I also do a lot in the stock room for Marine Serre. So again, I still, there is always a connection, and I always bring it with me. I will never take it off my CV. I don't think I will ever take it off my CV. Maybe later on in my career, when I have a bunch of other brands, I might not have it on my CV, but I will always talk about it, because it's part of how I work and how I'm used to work in an efficient and organized way.
No, it's true. I like the way you frame it. Just like it's your badge of honor, saying I've been into the trenches, I've been into the role when it's the highest pace possible in the entire industry, and I thrive in it, and I learn a bunch of skills from it. So now let me put that all of those knowledge and skills at the service of this project. That no matter what the project it is, it's never going to be as intense as what Zara
exactly
like put you through. So I like the way you frame it, because sometimes we feel that, oh, I work at Zara, how can I gonna be able to work at Off-White? And just by you explaining that, it's like, okay, that's the connection. It's
the connection. It's literally like you take it positively. You don't take it, oh, I'm working at Zara, oh, it's shit. No, like you're learning so much. It's like a growth mindset. It's like, this will enable me to get this job. If they don't like it, then okay, they don't like it, but there'll be someone, you'll probably talk to a manager that maybe is like me and be like, yeah, because the industry is filled with people like me. The industry is not filled with people that are like looking down on it. It's filled with people that are like me and that look really good on it. So I think it's very important. And I think also it humbles me as well. Because yes, like I am a graduate of IFM. Yes, I'm now a CRM manager, like CRM coordinator at Marine Serre. Yes, I worked at Off-White, and I have all these like badges of honor, but it humbles me. Like I'm like, yeah, but I'm just like, essentially, I'm still like Zara Inditex, like retail. And beside that, I also did a lot of odd jobs. Like I made sandwiches for people. I did sandwiches. I worked in like a gardening company. I did all of these things that don't like just humble me, because essentially it's like it doesn't matter, but it's like I've been there. Like, and I think it's good to have this in the fashion industry.
Yeah, no, I like what you talk about, the growth mindset. It doesn't matter what you have done, it's what you acquire from it and how you're going to transfer it to the other job. And as you say, sometimes you find the good person that understands that, and sometimes you don't, and you just move on to the person that's going to connect with that and see how to leverage that for their project, not like a barrier, something negative. And tell us a little bit more. Like, so after the IFM, what happened? You graduate. Where did you go? Did you go straight to Off-White? What was the journey to find kind of your first jobs?
So it was a interesting journey. I came to my second year of IFM wanting to be a buyer, and I then after my IFM like courses, I did an internship for buying and merchandising at Zara. It was really interesting, intense for my first ever. It was my first time like being in an office, and I had to like deal with that as well. It's like when you do an internship, and it's definitely your first internship, you have to learn skills that you never learned in school. And it's not like hard skills, it's skills that I call office skills, which is completely different. Like, it would be like, it's something very stupid as knowing if you need to send a Teams message or an email. Knowing if you should go in person or you should send an email. Knowing when to ask something, how to ask something to your manager. Something that I still have sometimes a problem to this day is putting meetings, like saying to someone, yeah, we should meet at 4. I still have a problem to this day because I'm like, oh, like, I don't want to like bother you, but at the same time, it's something that you need to learn. It's your job, and you have to, if you need a meeting with this person, you set it and they can decline, and it's like a back and forth. But it's like these very small things that they don't teach you at school that you're directly like kind of faced with in an office. And I know that that's my experience, but I know that a lot of other people have this like feeling. They never know like, oh, should I talk to a manager? Should I like do a meeting with my manager? And that's the funny thing about it. And then yeah, the whole internship was intense. I did like 2 showrooms. I prepared a showroom. It was a lot of Excel, which I was not prepared for. And also like
Can you tell us a little bit more about the job? What does it
okay.
What does it mean to work in a buyer and merchandiser?
So what does it mean? So first, okay. So I think I'm gonna go into the gritty part first and not the less romantic part. Is each week you do reports for the last week, and that's your Monday. Your Monday is behind your screen, doing pivot tables, Excel sheets, doing formulas, making presentations, and that's your whole Monday. And then for the rest is you help the merchandisers with making collection books because they did the buying, so you need to do the collection book. On top of that, with the old collection book, you need to insert the numbers of how many pieces were sold. You need to also check on delivery dates and communicate that to your managers. I was an assistant buyer for womenswear, menswear, and accessories. So I had to do reports like for all of these, and I had to look at them for all of it. Then I think it's again organizing what they've bought into categories, and then seeing how much they bought for them, then to then look back at it. And then during the years, a lot of like I had the privilege of doing my own project, which was also connected to CRM. I had two actually. I had one which is a visual merchandising project, is where I was analyzing the products that were displayed on mannequins, if the mannequins worked or not, if they pushed more products or not. And it was really cool because I had a meeting with the VM manager every Monday again to say what to change or not to change, which one's working, which one's not working, why this is working. And it was always connected to like maybe stock, or maybe it was connected because the style didn't work. We need to like style it better. The other part was CRM, which where every week they asked me for like a selection of clothes that they needed to put in their newsletter. They gave me a theme. I looked at the theme. I looked at what the stock level was, what the sell-through was, what's the stock was, and the price, because you don't want to push too much like expensive things in a newsletter. People won't buy expensive things through mobile or through a newsletter. They do it more in boutiques. And then I also had to do the reports for all of that. So it's there's like 3 parts of it. And then there's the buying. So the showroom is setting up the showroom, being next to the buyer and saying, okay, I want this goes into this area, that goes into there. And you're like just behind your computer, like writing everything down. And then after that, you have to put that on an Excel sheet with all the right pictures, with all the right information. On top of that, you need to because obviously you're in fashion, things change, materials change, styles change, forms change. There's you need to keep an eye on that and then communicate that to your manager. So as an assistant, you do a lot of things, which was really fun that I touch up on it. But I think basically that's what I did. And then I had the privilege to also do a selection for the sale periods. So there's a sales periods in I also forgot about another thing, but I'll circle back to that. There's a sale period for a grand magasin, which where they were we'll do 15% on some items, and then I got to choose which items were going to go on sale. How do I do it? Again, price, stock, sell through. What is not going full price, but we think would be good with maybe a 15% discount or a 30% discount. And then that I had to do reports on it and prepare everything and kind of send that to the head of retail. So that was also something I did, which I'm also really happy I did. It was quite intense, but looking back at it, I really liked it. And then another part of it was a bit like press. So these department stores would like contact us and be like, "Hey, we have this theme. Which product would you like us to push? And if you have these products, can you send it to us?" So I had to like they get me a theme. It was really fun. It was like kind of a styling thing as well. So it was like my creativity came out. My creativity came out for visual merchandising, CRM, and this, and it was yeah, very businessy because it was backed with like numbers and stuff. But I had to work with what I had. So if I didn't have a lot of stock on this but I really liked it, I was like, no, I'm not going to push this thing. But if it was in service of the brand, if it was in service of like, let's say how the department store was looking at the brand, I would say like, I would tell my manager, no, we need to push this. He was like, no, like it doesn't make sense like commercially. But I was like, it does make sense for the brand. Like I don't like I told them like you do whatever, but I told my opinion. I was like my opinion is that yes, the brand is commercial, but if you want to like step out and go into more like a better like vision, you should push like products that are sometimes out of stock. So that was kind of like the whole rundown of what I did as an intern. It was a lot. I was in a huge amount of pressure. I was not doing the best job that I could because I was like it was a lot and it was my first internship, first internship in fashion. You're not always the best, but I learned so much.
Amazing. Thanks for the kind of the big picture, because that's one of the things sometimes we see, like the title assistant buyer, and like, okay, but what does it mean? So now we have a better a picture. And if I had to highlight few things, what I love about what you say is like, yeah, the first internship, we're not always the best. We are there to learn. That's fashion also is the higher paced environment. And you have to understand that, yeah, you need to sell, you need to analyze, you need to communicate to sell those products, you need to coordinate with different departments and people outside. I love what you say about the office skills. I think it's a great term, because all of those details are the ones that make your day-to-day and the job super efficient.
Yeah.
And it's true, at the beginning, you have no idea how to do things. And it seems really small, but that's the job. Is like, how do I put a meeting here? How do I talk to that? How do I communicate with that person? And all of those skills at the end is not about like creativity or sense of style or understand the latest trend or who is the latest influencer. Not at all. And that's the part that sometimes we forget about fashion, that it's also like all the business side of it, that you can have a lot of knowledge on the fashion and history industry, but what's going to make the difference? It's your capacity to learn, adapt, communicate, gather information, convince, exactly what you were saying about like, okay, we have the data, we need to push this product, but my opinion is that. So I think it's a great like summary of everything that entails to work in any professional environment in the fashion industry. It's beyond all of everything that we know about fashion as a creative place. So it's great. So if you had to summarize that first experience, what are the key learnings that you got from there? Like
the key learning, I think one of the biggest learning I had was that yes, I can love fashion and everything, but I need to be structured. Like I need like you're still working, you're a professional. I need to structure. I need to like if I have to read something 3 to 5 times, it's okay. Like if I want to do a good job, I just take the time. And if people are if people like stress you about something, I was like, no, like I want my first project to be good, and then I can hop on the next one. The other thing would be like, yeah, connected that like very much attention to detail, which is the fashion industry itself is attention to detail. You go past perfection. You try to go as far as you can. And you can do that like alone and then also with your manager, and there's where team effort is like very important. is that like everything I do, I want to first validate it with someone else because I need a second eye. And I think that's what separates I think fashion to other people. It's this willingness of going beyond just like, oh, I'm doing my job. Because even when you go out the office and you come back to your desk and you see the presentation, you're like, no, I can do this better. This can be better. And that's something that I've learned at Zara a lot. And it was actually a point that was like one of my negative points was that I was not detail oriented, and I took that to heart. And I was like, okay, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work on this. That's the first aspect. It's like learning to be detail oriented. Second would be definitely professional organization, putting meetings, sending emails, not being afraid of like asking questions. And then the third one is asking questions, talking to people. Oh, I talked to so many people, not like I talked to VMs, to CRM, to buyers and stuff. I talked to so many people, and like they gave me information, and I don't think Zara taught me this. I think what really taught me this was just also just my personal life. I was just asking for information. But I think Zara also gave me a bunch of like hard skills like Excel that I still now use today, that I now miss sometimes. So it's these three things. Yeah, it's weird to miss Excel, but now today when I have to do like a report, I'm super happy. I'm like, yes, please give me all the numbers. I'll like organize them. Please give me it. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm so weird, but I love it.
It's a good sign for a buyer. It's loving Excel. Now, I like what you're saying about asking questions. I think it's a great one, especially at the beginning, and I would say even after later on. It's a great way to learn, to be humble enough to admit that we don't know, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I like the structure, the structure part as well, because it's true that at the end of the day, we go so fast. We need to always be sure that, okay, what's the purpose of it? How long does it take to do that? How perfect can I do it? And at the same time, knowing that it's never going to be as perfect as you could, because you need to ship that project as fast as possible. But it's trying to find that balance between perfection, good enough, and detail-oriented enough that it does the work, and it's okay. So yeah, I like your summary. I think it's super complete, and really excellent points.
I think the last part that I really wanted to say is that as architecte, I understood that I don't have to be perfect, that it's okay to not know, and it's okay to fail, and it's okay, like you're like, I was my first internship, like I'm here, you learn, and I'll keep learning probably until I'm 70, until I'm like probably dead. I will keep learning, and I'll keep have that mindset.
Yeah.
Like I will not be perfect. Like every job I need to learn, every job needs training, every training needs a learning curve, and that's what I learned at Zara. It was kind of an up and down road, because I was not really doing very well, and it was like chipping away of my kind of self-confidence. But then at a certain moment, I was like, look, like I'm an intern, I need to learn, and this is part of a learning curve. It's part of like failing, and then why do I fail, and you kind of go up. So, and you learn to deal with.
It's an excellent point that if you're not feeling uncomfortable, that means you're not learning and you're not growing. And sometimes when we start any job, especially at the beginning, we want to prove ourselves and prove the others that we are up to the task. And sometimes it's too much pressure to put on ourselves. Well, if you focus on, okay, I'm good at this, I need to improve that. I feel uncomfortable, but it's okay. It's part of the growing pain, kind of. You reduce the anxiety and you focus on what it really matters. What matters is not so much, oh, I don't feel good. No, what matters is like, how can I improve every day a little bit on every aspect? So that's why there's something you said that I think was super interesting. Is like, okay, I need to be more focused, detail oriented. And you see, it's not a specific task. It's something that infused in all the tasks that you do. But by changing 1%, 2% every day on improving on that part, you improve all the different aspects of your job. So I like that way of thinking. Is like, I need to improve. Okay, but what specifically do I need to improve? And what is the one thing that I need to improve that's going to have the maximum impact on the rest of my, missions and day to day? And I think it's a really smart way to think about growth and not specifically on one specific task.
Exactly. I think when you fail, and when I didn't fail, but when I did an error, I didn't look at the error. I was like, oh no, like what is this specific error? I was like, okay, what led to this error? Like why? And then a lot of times I was like, oh yeah, I didn't like I gave it in too quick. I gave it in without checking it, or I had way too much to do, and I was feeling pressure of time and task. And then you kind of like, I write it, like what I do. I write a lot. I'm one annoying person that I go home and my parents are like, oh no, come out and please talk to us. I was like, no, I feel bad. Give me a pen, give me a paper. I need to write all of these things down. And then when I write, I kind of like try to like figure out what's wrong, figure out where something went wrong. And then I'm like, okay, I pinpointed this, and then I have a small conclusion, and I was like, this it is, I need to work on, and then I'm good. So, and it's like a holistic point of thing. I hate looking at it in detail. Sometimes it's a detail that is like not good, and you're like, okay, yeah, like maybe I should check the details here, but it's also like a big picture. There is a big picture always.
And how did you come up with that way of thinking, writing, thinking about an issue? Where did that come from?
It came from, when did I start journaling? Oh, I think it came from like a point in my life where I was like a bit depressed, and I was trying to figure out the way to like get out of this. And it was like self-improvement. So I was like, okay, like what do they say? They say meditate, journal. And I was like, okay, how do you journal? Like, what is this? And I kept reading, because I don't know, when I'm obsessed about something, I read about all of it. And then like, I need to look up everything about this subject. And then like, I kind of like, I did a bunch of techniques. Like, I think there's a 5-minute journaling. There's like a pros and cons journaling. There's all like these different things. It never worked for me, but then I found one where it was like just a free writing for 15 minutes where you just write all of your thoughts. And I think it's, again, a skill that I've learned. Like I think my first piece of journaling was just erratic thoughts about life. And then I had the skill to, and the courage, let me say, to write the things that were really wrong, really like pinpoint them and why they were wrong. And then I used that in my job, and I used that mentality and that process in my job and my career. It's like, okay, like this is where I'm at. This is what I'm feeling. Okay, now why am I feeling this?
And that's super interesting. And how did you decide to kind of being persistent with that habit? Because you try different things. I imagine it was not super comfortable to try one technique, journaling, and at the same time trying to analyzing. And you said, don't work. How did you get persistent with that habit, and why?
Because somehow it worked. Even though I did different techniques, I felt lighter during the day. I felt better. Just like being myself, and I saw the positive aspect that it had on my own life. Obviously, it was like not always fun to do, but I was like, okay, I need to do it because I know that it's better. Like I'm like more present with my friends. I'm more present in my work. I'm more present with my family. I'm more present because I write. And I kind of figured out the connection, and then. Yeah, I think the moment I figure out the way I like to write, but I still like kind of switch it up. Sometimes I write, and maybe like I do little poems, or little like songs, or even a rap song or something, because sometimes I want some structure, but sometimes I just want to free write. So I think it's was persistent because I saw the benefit of it. If I didn't see the benefit of it, not directly, let's say not directly, but let's say I didn't, after a week or two of doing it, I saw the benefit, I saw it improving, what it looked like. And this is how also like I got persistent with my job search and everything in life. And I'm like, if you just keep going past uncomfortability, you'll find comfortability. And then you just keep finding new uncomfortable things to do. And then you just move. And then
that's amazing advice. It's a good one. So do you still like journal often, like every day or what?
Every day, sad, happy. Every morning is like a routine. And if I feel some emotions during the day or during the evening, I write. And in the evening, it's more where I do poems or rap songs or just songs or let's say sometimes I just do words. It's really weird, but I just put words on how I feel, word, and then that's it. And then maybe that's how I process things, and it helps. It's just like something that it's a habit, and I feel it's a hobby as well, and it's something that I want to explore more into writing stories. Because I feel the more I write, the more I see like, oh, I'm writing in like a story of my own life. And I'm writing in maybe sometimes a third person perspective or first person perspective. And I was like, okay, like maybe I can try to discover creativity in a story and write a short story about something.
Okay. No, that's a great advice. And I like the way you explain it, that now it become your habit and it's part of your life, your routine, and it's something that make you feel better, more light. I like what you said about being present, because at the end of the day, it's one of the huge skills in a fast-paced environment like fashion. There's moments you need to be 100% in there, and no thoughts can come bother or annoy you, because you need to be present and in the relationship as well. So thanks for sharing that tip and that habit. It's a really strong one.
It's something that I push with a lot of people. When people come to me, I was like, just write, like
just write,
just go take a book, fucking write about something stupid. I don't know, like sometimes I write about my baguette or my sandwich that was amazing. What is that about fashion? There's no fashion in that. There's no like actual property in that. It was just an amazing sandwich, but the sandwich made me think of something, and then like it's just that. So it's a really good habit in general. And what you said, I also want to highlight this: like 100% in fashion, you get carried away sometimes. And this is, I think again, I'm talking a big idea and a big, like let's say, structure. Sometimes you can like be swept away by your job to something that you actually don't want to do. You're so into the loop of the tornado of this fast pace, like, oh, we need to do this, that at the end of the day, you're doing something that you don't like, that is not like serving you. So I think writing for me and like all of this is everyday self-reflection of, okay, this is where I am. This is where it's pushing me. Is it really right for me? And I think that's something that people in fashion and also in other industries don't really do a lot. I have such a self-reflective way of looking at it, because I know that I can, like, if I let it go, I'll get flooded away to somewhere that I don't want to be.
Yeah. And that's why I like that. You have that self-conscious that this habit is the one that keep you on the ground, keep you like knowing where you want to go, because fashion, as you say, can take you, and you do season after season, and you one day you wake up and you're like, where am I? Like, why am I here? How did I arrive here? And it's true, and it's an excellent transition to kind of after Zadig and Voltaire. How did you decide like what to do, because you finished your internship, or what did you decide on the next steps?
So it was tough. 100% tough because I was trying to find a job in buying, but because I just had one internship, it was quite like hard to find someone like the junior position sometimes has like 5 years of experience and stuff. So I had to like kind of self-reflect and look at like, okay, like what will be in service of my career? Like what like if I don't do buying, what else can I do to, let's say, be better? And I looked at my CV and my thing. I was like, okay, you know what? Like I might want to go back to like. Also, I needed money. Let's say, just be very like honest. I needed money. I wanted to stay in Paris. If I didn't have a job, I couldn't stay in Paris. I had to go back to Belgium. I didn't want that. That was for me my worst nightmare was that. Pretty bad to say. I like it's not really nice to say, but I don't want to be in Belgium. It's not that I hate it. I feel that my home is in a fashion city. So I was like, okay, I want to stay here. I need a job. I have retail experience. I've never done luxury retail. Why not try? Like, why not just go back to retail and uh, get skills that I didn't know that that I didn't have yet. I didn't know it. I was like, oh, like I can do this job, but I think it was a bit uncomfortable because I never did it for a luxury brand where customer service, customer loyalty is such a big thing. So it's funny because it kind of like closed the cycle for me. I started working at retail for Off-White. It was again like a cycle. It was something like it's the first brand I got in touch with. It's gonna be my first official job in fashion. It's gonna be at Off-White. So
It's amazing. It's true. It's a full cycle.
It's a full cycle, and it was funny. Like, and I remember I did my interview, and I think it was my second interview, and this woman, this manager, was very, very like direct. Looked at me, he's like, Timothy, you come from IFM, one of the best schools ever. Why are you doing retail? And I looked at her like, why not? Like, why not? Like, I think that retail is still an essential part of the industry, and I want to learn as much as possible from retail and how the retail works. And what better way to learn retail than being in the store? And then she's like, yes, you are right. And I was like, yeah, like this is how it should be. Like, I can only learn something by doing it. So I got the job, and it was right after Virgil died, so it was kind of like a bit of a sad period for them, but for me it was like tough because I was like, oh, I'm gonna go at Off-White, I'm gonna meet him, and then he died. I think the next day after my interview. I was like, wow, this is tough. But then after I was like, look, like he died, and I'm gonna be part of the team that's gonna bring his vision forward, and I think I'm the right person for this job to do this. So yeah, like I started working Off-White, and I learned so much in terms of customer service, CRM, let's say managing teams. I don't know why, but somehow they put me in kind of sometimes a manager role, kind of manage like my own team. Then they gave me like presentations to do in terms of culture because they liked how cultured I was. Then they liked how much I understand like luxury clients, so I had to like talk about the luxury vocabulary. I did a whole presentation on this, and so I really felt I was like training some of these people, and then also when we got new people, they gave it to me to train them because they knew that I had this kind of feel for luxury, how to talk to a client, the way to talk to a client, and what is luxury essentially. And I was also lucky enough to have a manager that was not my manager, but the manager above me that had a lot of experience in luxury. And I was talking to him about a lot of things. I did a lot of big orders that I had to send that were all done through WhatsApp, and he helped me a lot. So, or also with the CRM, he helped me so much. So I learned so much about the luxury clients, the way a boutique works, the way, let's say, they did also a promotion for the runway. All of that, it just opened the window, and I felt so in a situation where normally they say like, oh, it's just retail. I just felt so like at home, but also filled with information and filled with joy and filled with like so much accomplishments that were not mine. Sometimes if a teammate, I call them teammates, they call them coworkers, but if a teammate did a great job and I trained them, I felt that was my accomplishment. Obviously, the manager was like, "No, it's theirs," but I was like, "No, I don't care." Like, I like, and then sometimes they came up to me and they were like, "Oh, Tim, like, thank you so much. You like, I sold this shoe because you told me to say this. I sold this T-shirt because you told me to say this. I sold this amazing dress because you told me that this would look good on her." And I was like, "Yeah, like, great job. Like, honestly, like, I'm happy for you." And it gave me so much. It gave me so much that, again, like today, I think it's been a year since I've been working out, like, after Off-White, and I still hold it there.
Amazing. So many insights, so many roads to kind of follow up. If we had to kind of extract what you have learned on each aspect, so if you have to learn in, let's say, in how to manage a team or transmit a team, what would be the one thing that you have learned there? And
Okay.
what is the one thing you have learned in CRM and one thing that you have learned in kind of, I don't know, luxury customer?
Okay. I'm writing this down because I don't want to, because I feel I'm rambling a bit, but it's fine. So in teamwork, what I 100% learned is that it's not a one size fit all. When I trained someone or when I was like discussing with someone, I first try to understand where they come from, what they would do, and then instruct them with my insight. And always like I always praise them. Like I was surprised by how much people knew about fashion that did not come from like a fashion school or whatever. They didn't do any school, and they talked about fashion and all these things, and I was like, okay, like you're like again humbling. Like I don't like throw my diploma out the window. Like I don't I'm not the like I hate it when they say, oh, you're from IFM, so you should know. I was like, no, I don't know. Like I'm just like you. Like I'm just a person. So I think in terms of team, I think it's understanding the other person and how they work, and then trying to, let's say, if I feel that something is not right in a way, let's say, that would like be destructive in what they're doing, I would try to be like, okay, like don't do it like this. Maybe don't show the shoe like it's something very small. Don't show the shoe like vertically, but show it like this. Also, don't put the shoe here. Put it more on the box. Like it's all these small things. Or like put the box there and hold the shoe, and then it was super small. And but I saw that like because I let them be who they are, but just change one thing, they were more acceptant of that. And that's what I learned at Off-White, and I do this with my intern as well. That's
Amazing.
the team. In CRM, it's I don't think I learned that much, but I learned that it's important to have a relationship with your client, and it's important to nurture that relationship, not only commercially but also like emotionally. So I had clients that knew me by my name. I had clients phone number that called me. I had clients that wanted pictures every week. I had it's that like I had a lot of like these things that I saw was actually very important, and I didn't feel the importance before in buying, and I felt it there. The clients that you already have acquired are one of your best friends because they like your brand. They've already invested in your brand. Please bring them into your brand. So sometimes I even send articles to my clients about Off-White. and they're like, "Oh, thank you. Like I didn't know about this." Sometimes they read it, so they don't. I didn't mind. Like if I was ghosted, I don't mind. Like, I just want to bring them the brand, and it's less a commercial thing than like, oh, I need your money, more than like, this is our relationship. That's something that I really learned in CRM in a boutique, which now it's not like I can't really do it at Marine Serre, but we'll get to that later. And in terms of a luxury client, I learned that I may love fashion and I may love every part of it, but the people that buy it have no idea sometimes. They buy it for the brand, they buy it for the things, and it's sometimes you need to humble yourself. Sometimes you need to get off your fashion pedestal and sell just the brand or just the clothing. But at the same time, give a little storytelling. People don't like. I know that at Off-White, people didn't want to know the whole story about Virgil Abloh. But if I can give you a T-shirt with the logo and explain to you where the logo comes from, you like luxury clients will have even a better experience. Or explain to you why this T-shirt is a skate fit and why that's relevant in the brand. Just a small sentence. They love it. It's not. I don't say it for them to buy it. I say it because I want to represent the brand, and somehow it's also the brand's responsibility to educate their luxury customer. But most of them don't know anything. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I know. It's like
it is part of the job. Yeah,
I'm in the middle because I had clients that knew way more than me, which I was like talking to the whole time, and I had clients that didn't know anything. So that's the thing. Like the fashion industry is so diverse, and I only saw it when I was in a luxury boutique. Because I was in a world at IFM. You're in a world where everyone is interested in fashion and they're buying the same thing. In a boutique, you see that there's just normal people with normal jobs that want to buy something, maybe something special for the one time for their birthday. Maybe someone is like has a lot of money and just buys a T-shirt because 250 euros is for him like €2 Zara T-shirt. So that's something I learned, and I in my office now at Marine Serre, I constantly remind them. I'm like in marketing, I have a marketing around me, and they're all talking about, yeah, we need to do this, and oh, the brand, like they're all into like, oh, the customer is like this, and I told them like, yeah, like you're talking to maybe 20% of our customers that are like investing in the brand. The other 80 just wants the logo, just wants the thing. Like, just be serious. And I think at Marine Serre it's maybe like 50-50 because there's still the sustainability. But I know like at other brands, it's just sometimes you need to be down to earth and you need to know what your customer is, and that's a customer. The customer just wants the brand, the logo, and it's okay. That's it's somehow the reason the fashion industry exists.
I love how you summarize all of this in such a unique way about the team spirit and how to train people. I like what you said. Let them be who they are. Just change one or two things that you think that could be improved, but don't try to put them in a mold or in a structural way, because it doesn't work that way. Like, you don't gonna let them express themselves. And I think it's a really good point, especially as a manager in the future, to keep that in mind. Not everything's going to be done the same way you will do it, but the result's going to be there. So just tweak one or two things, and I think it's great. And regarding what you said about CRM and luxury customers, the CRM, I love what you say. It's like focusing on that relationship, building, nurturing that relationship that go beyond the transactional aspect of the way you met. And it's like, okay, how can I keep that customer into the world of the brand in so many different ways that's going to continue for them to enjoy the experience that go beyond the transaction they had.
100%.
And what you said about the luxury business, I think it's an excellent point. And even for myself, it's a good take that, when you are so passionate about the product, about the storytelling, like you really love fashion, you wish that all your customers are like that, and you could talk to them about all the small details that how this product have been made, how like the designer decide to create that. And at the same time, you have a big majority of your customers that only know the logo, only know that it's a hype, and it's okay because that's the way for them to enjoy themselves. That's the way for them to discover the brand and maybe know a little bit more. And as you say, as fashion professionals, our role it's kind of give them, just meet them where they are in their journey into fashion. And if it starts with the logo and they stay there, that's good for us. If they want a little bit more, okay, let's connect a little bit more the relationship. But we don't have kind of to close ourselves and be in that, state of mind that, oh, we know and they don't. It's not, no, let's connect where they are. And it's part of the journey. And as you say, at the end, that's also one of the way the business is run, is through those logos, through the T-shirt, through that thing. Because at the end of the day, they are the majority of the customers. So we always have to keep that in mind in everything we do. So those are great points.
When you should not gatekeep fashion. I hate.
No, it's true.
Just for saying, last Thursday I wanted to go out to a fashion party. I got rejected. I didn't know why. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Like, you do what you do, but I hate gatekeeping. I don't like it. Because
no, it's true.
If you gatekeep, that means that like you're not open to new things, which essentially is the downfall of fashion, in my opinion. Because fashion needs to be open to new things, needs to be observant of what's new. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. Even the way what we do today, just to talk about what is fashion and the different jobs, that's a way to kind of open the industries for newcomers or even for people who already know and discover new things.
Exactly.
And
that's it.
And just to continue to your CRM journey. So how did you end up at Marine Serre? How did you arrive over there after Off-White?
Okay, this is it's a very, again, I think my whole story is very like random, but my best friend was working at Marine Serre, and she told me, I'm leaving. Okay, I'm leaving, do you want my job? And I said yes. And also I already worked a bit with Marine Serre because while I was working at Off-White, I had free time sometimes in the week, and if they needed help, if my friend literally texted me, hey, do you want to take pictures of this fabric? I was like, yeah, okay, I'm coming. I came. Hey, do you want to help with dressing people? Yeah, okay, I'm coming. Did everything for free. Like, I did not, like, I have a job, I have money and stuff, but I love this brand, I love what they do, and I want to help out a friend. I come there, so I met the manager always when I was there. I did like all these little things for them for free, and I remember when she left her job, she actually asked me because her manager asked her like, "Hey, is Timothy available?" And I just said yes. I didn't have any expectations. I just wanted to. I love the brand. I really like the manager, and I just wanted to help out. And the job of CRM was like put on my desk on the first day. I didn't know, like, she didn't hire me for CRM. She hired me just because she liked working with me. So I came there, my first day, she looked at me like, Timothy, you're in charge of CRM. And I was like, fun. Never did this, never. So I was so stressed. I was so stressed. Plus, on top of that, I needed to learn all of the e-commerce at the same time. My manager was on vacation. It was just me and my intern. It was just trying to learn as much as possible. And I had a consultant helping me, and obviously, I blessed that guy because I learned so much from him and kept asking questions about CRM because I didn't know anything about it. So I was like, I asked the questions. What are your plans? Like, how should I do this? How should I do that? What should the text be? What should the title be? What, like, should it be on all caps or no caps? Like, all these, like, I had like meetings with him like 3 times a week. and it was just me asking questions. And he was like so nice to like ask them, like ask me questions. And I think it was also cool because I had a really good relationship with him in terms of like clients and how clients feel. And I did everything on intuition. Like until now, my CRM journey has been intuition, and it's something that I also want to kind of like bring towards this new, like the people that are into fashion and starting also with me, like trust your intuition, because your intuition comes from experience, comes from your observation. So everything has become intuition. Obviously, I learned new skills in terms of visual, in terms of commercial, in terms of team, in terms of copywriting that I thought I would never do in my life. It's again like copywriting was fun because I love writing in English, and like all my texts in English. She was like, "Oh, Tim, like why are they so great?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I practice, I guess." So yeah, that's how I got in touch with this job that I'm in right now, and it's been great. Honestly, it's been amazing, and the people I love the brand. It's also a really big part of it for me. Is yeah, okay. The job is CRM, and I'm doing everything on intuition, which had a lot of stress. It's all my projects, so a lot of like pressure and stress. But I had like people around me that like just said, "Tim, like you trust your intuition, it will come." And it's just the brand and the people that are there. It's one of the most important things for me. It's the people that are around me when I'm working. I love the brand and the people. And I'm repeating myself, but it's true. It's the most important thing because
Yeah,
I know
I remember.
I didn't.
Yeah, I remember. Somebody told me one day, like, at the end, it doesn't matter what you do; it's with who you do it. So, and I remember that I kept that in mind even in my own journey,
Yeah.
and it made me think about what you just said. Like, yeah, I love the brand. I came there not because I wanted to do CRM. I just wanted to work with them, and they wanted to work with me. Let's figure out what we can do. We are passionate about this product and this where the company is going, and let's figure out. And sometimes you know some stuff. Sometimes you have to learn. Sometimes you have to trust your intuition, as you said. So it is I totally understand why it's so important for you and to kind of move you to the kind of the next steps and how. And also it's because it's a world of passionate people, and that's why sometimes we work from passion, and not everything is structured, not everything is clear, and that's the beauty of fashion and creativity. Like we all go together, we don't know where we're going, but we are going.
Exactly. And for me, it's everything is for me, being rich, man, I'm going so deep, but being rich is not being like rich with money. It's being rich with experience. I can comfortably say that I have done a buying job, I've done a retail job, and I've done the e-commerce job. And I have knowledge in all of it. So if you want to talk to me, like please do, because I want to share it. I want to share this.
Okay. And so where are you now in your journey? What's happening? Are you continuing in your position? What's the plan for you next?
So it's been quite tough this last few weeks because I had a conversation with my manager that I initiated myself. I put a meeting, obviously stressful for me to put a meeting with someone. I was like, oh my God, like when do I put this? But I put the meeting.
How did you do it?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, no. Like 3 o'clock is good. I texted her, is it 3 o'clock good? And then I was like, oh, like what should I put in the meeting? Because it's gonna be like very forward for me to like say future of Tim. So at the moment I am it's just anxiety until the meeting just to set it up. Oh God. I think I put the meeting, it was a Thursday or something, and I wanted to talk about the end of my contract, which is the 31st of December. And before the meeting, like obviously, like I write. So before the meeting, I took my notebook and I wrote things that I wanted to do, points. Like, it's not a myth. It's not a myth. I write all the time about stupid stuff, but also about important stuff. And I wrote the things that I would love to incorporate. I would love to stay, but I would love to incorporate in my job that I think is good for me, my professional thing. So it was like doing small things, doing like preparing the buying, doing more shootings, like doing CRM, but maybe having someone do it with me, or like kind of disperse the task and maybe be more in the strategic side, or having someone above me. And I had these all planned out, and then I went into this meeting. And first, I asked the feedback; it was all good. And then it was a very cool meeting because we came to a mutual conclusion that I'm not right for this. It's not that I'm not right for this job, but this job is not made for me. Job is not my future. She didn't hire me for this job. And I also said to her, like, you guys need someone that is interested in CRM, that is interested in the digital aspect, in SEO, in SEA, all of these things. You guys need it. Like, I have a ceiling and I cannot like burst. I don't want to burst down the ceiling because I'm not interested in what's on the other side. And we came to a mutual understanding. So my contract is going to finish in December. I'm already like looking maybe for like new opportunities, updating my CV, talking to like my network. But I also told them, like, look, I know that December and January is tough because one, I'm leaving, my intern is leaving. You have a new person coming in. You have a new intern coming in. I don't feel confident of leaving you guys just like this. So I proposed them, if you guys want to, I'll stay for a month of Jan or another CDD, or like maybe an anterior, however you want to structure it. And we're still in talks with it. Obviously, it's a very like busy period right now, but like I told my manager, and she was very shocked about it. I was like, we need to be open about this. Like, I don't want to be like sneaky or whatever. Like, we need to be open about this, about my contract, about everything, because it's only going to help each other out. And she was so open and so nice about how direct I was. She's like, yeah, she can only respect it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Just looking for a job, just trying to find also what I would like to do next. Reading books about like what kind of job really would fit my kind of personality, because I think like because I'm so holistic, I would be good at many things, and I could be good at many things, but I don't know if I would be happy doing many things. Because, not to like brag, but the CRM, I was not passionate about it. I was not into it at all. I just did my job, which at a certain point you just need to do your job. But I still like, I think I raised our profit like 500% from CRM, only CRM, from the time I came there. So it does tell me that even though I'm not passionate about it, I can do a good job. I can survive and even thrive in something that I have no experience in. So it really gives like a lot of confidence. So that's why like coming up, like I'm excited for what's next because it's really cool.
Okay, so that's an unexpected turn, like to the fact that you are in the CRM, you are good at it, but at the same time you arrive at the conclusion, as you said, that is not for you. Mm-hmm. And I think what it's really important here is like everything that you have said about journaling, self-reflection, knowing that you wanted to add new things to the position already shows like more or less where you want to go next, and you were trying to find a compromise inside the position you had today to kind of implement where you really want to go in the future. And the reality in most companies is like, jobs are structured with limitation in terms of scope. Yeah. And at the end, it's exactly the recommendation you give them. It's like, okay, the truth is like you need somebody that's going to be passionate about like doing this job, growing it, making it better. And I can do it. I have the results for it, but I won't be able to do it extensively like that. And at the same time, I won't be able to do it because I'm not passionate enough about it to go the step further to be able like to bring those results. So I think that's an excellent point to keep it in mind, is like always be aware of what you want, the limits, knowing that sometimes it's not you is not fit for the job. Sometimes it's the job that is not fit for you. I like the way you reframe that. I think it's really smart. I think it's really good. And the other thing I want to highlight that I think it's quite amazing, it's also your work ethic, to say, I know what's happening next. I don't want to leave you to let you hang there. I want to be there for you until like I feel confident that you guys going to be set with the next person, or at least after this huge period, because Fashion Week is coming and things like that. And I think that's not something that everybody think that way. So it is something that it's quite amazing. So now that we have kind of summarized kind of the situation, when you look at let's say after 2023, when you look at the future and you find something, how do you imagine yourself? What is the projection that you have? How do you feel? Where are you? What do you do? Who are you in your projection, if you have to imagine who you are in 23?
So
and you have found what you wanted to.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know. In 2023, if I find like a next job or something, I'm looking to maybe like go integrate into a bigger company. Let's say a group, to see how that is, to see how I can like maybe get like, because I really like analysis now, and I think I really want. It's really like it's a nerdy thing to say. I love Excel, and I would love to like go a bit deeper into that and really get that skill like perfect. And I think I can do that through like maybe a more organized cell. That'll be one thing. Another thing is maybe like on the flip side is like going somewhere small and go something more creative in a photo studio for e-commerce or something that can connect my e-commerce experience and maybe then go through that way. But I think that I will always like I will just take the next experience that I feel is right for me, that I can like get. It's gonna be in fashion. It's gonna be interesting, challenging. It's gonna be discomfort most of the time. But I want it. Like I just want to have the most experience of what I can do. I was also thinking of maybe doing some wholesale, because I know that I can like bring my analytical side together with my like commercial side. It's something that I am maybe envisioning to do if I don't find a position yet that I love in January, those showrooms, to get my network going in a showroom, but like also like to push my commercial side, to push this boundary of like retail to do into wholesale. And then like, deal with budgeting, deal with clients, deal with different personalities, figure out the trends of that store. Again, like I think I might want to push there into wholesale. I might want to push to digital merchandising, or I might want to push into more like photography things. So there's like three options to keep open, I keep looking at, but there's also another like small option that's what I kind of liked about CRM is the connection with the client and how to get the clients, like top clients, VIPs, how to get them like the best e-commerce kind of experience. And I'm also kind of like looking for it. I saw one like for My Teresa. So it's like different things that I know I could be good at and I know I would like, or maybe like would like be a bit passionate about. And obviously like I can try it. And if after like a certain time, it's not it, like I'll just figure out another way. I think at IFM, someone like did in his speech that like, oh, like you want to go to Marseille, but you take like in the middle of the way, you want to maybe go to take a right turn or left turn to see Bordeaux. And then at the end of the night, you don't like Bordeaux, you can always go back to the highway for Marseille. So I see life as this, but I don't have one highway. I just go on the road see what I can find, and that's for me. That's already like amazing. But obviously, like I know my dream would be to finally figure out how to connect my creativity in the sense of like fashion for design, architecture. It goes even into like products, like small products like the pen or whatever, or a candle. All these products with also an analytical side, kind of having that. That's the search of my life at the moment. Is how what can I what is this little small thing that I can find that will like be good? And I don't think I might never find it, but I might maybe go more to creative, more to like analytical, jump back and forth. Might never find it, but it's the pursuit that counts, in my opinion.
I love the way you explain that at the end, that it's the pursuit of your life. What is really unique about you is like you have already the ingredients that you want to achieve. What's going to be the difference is exactly what you said, like how much of creativity, how much analytical, how much of customers, how much of image going to be inside that position.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, I think that's one of the strengths that you have looking for the new job, is like you have really clear understanding of what are those criteria. So now the decision is kind of, okay, which position fit the best with which level of creativity analysis, and what are the trade-offs I'm willing to make with according like the timeline I have, the money I need, the kind of the opportunities that arise.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of fine tune that, like, okay, I see that here there is more analytical. Let's image. Is that okay? Is that the great trade-off? Okay, let's go for that. And as you say, along the way, 6 months, 1 year, new opportunities arise, or you discover new things. Say, now it's the opposite: more image, less analytical. Maybe that's good too. Or maybe you say, you know what? I think analytical, I still need to learn more about it. Let's continue to focus on that along the way. And I think it's a really nice way of doing it. And what I want to highlight by that, it's most of the time we focus so much on job titles. I want to become a buyer. I want to become, wholesale manager. I want to be, like those big titles. But what I like with your approach is like, what inside those jobs would I learn, or what skills would I acquire? So in a way, the title don't really matter. What matters is inside the job title, especially that according to different companies, you have the same title, different type of jobs. So you're focusing more on that level. And I think that's the smart way to kind of use that as a filter to kind of analyze where you want to go. I think that's, in my opinion, a really good way of looking. And I like your different options. I think it's good that you keep it open. One of the things I wanted to kind of circle back was the network. You have been talking a little bit about the network. How do you see that network? How do you use it to kind of fuel your ideas, or where do you see it like being useful in your search?
Well, network is for me, like I told you in the beginning, I am an extroverted thinker. So for me, is that I shape my ideas of the world and my own like job from other people. Perfect example is the thing that you just highlighted is like I don't look at job titles, I look at what I do. I got that from you. Like I think we had this conversation during our like the first couple of meetings. You said like, yeah, don't look at the job title, look at what they do. And again, like that's something that someone else that you brought me, and most of it it's that. So that's where I use my network, and my network is where I try to understand other jobs or other brands sometimes. And obviously I have the privilege, let's say, of being an IFM alumni, where most of my classmates are in lucrative like jobs. I have someone that is a data analyst, I have someone that's a merchandiser. And if I know that if I want to like talk about it or or talk about their job, see their experience within the company, I can literally just text them, be like, hey, do you want to grab a coffee? And then they say, yes, okay, cool. And then we grab coffee and we talk about the job. And I ask for like their advice. Sometimes I ask, hey, like, is there a space in your in your division or something? On top of that, also LinkedIn is something that I sometimes use. It's here we're only talking about networking. So sometimes if I really want to know about a job and in my circle there's no one that does the job, I will literally go on LinkedIn, type the job, and go to people and then see if someone is connected through IFM or to someone I know. Sometimes someone I don't know, and I maybe go through LinkedIn. With creatives, I do it mostly via like Instagram. Sometimes I even have some calls with them, and I just try to be active in a way of being curious again, being curious about other people and how they live their life and the day-to-day things. Just I'm curious about another job, so I'll reach out to this person to know about it, and that's how I network mostly. I don't really believe in networking. Let's say network. I don't like networking events. For me, it puts a lot of pressure, like social anxiety, on me, and I don't like it. For me, it's too much. I rather go into my own circle and then like try to like figure out how I can do it in the most like comfortable way that is for me. And obviously, yeah, you have to get out of your comfort zone with LinkedIn, but it's worth it. I've met many great people that have helped me and have helped shape like the vision of a job.
Okay, and those are great advice, and I agree. Just focusing on the people journey, what they have done, what is their job, as you say, fuel your own kind of research or your own way of thinking about what is the next step of in your career. And so coming back to where you are now, what is kind of your action plan? How do you see like how are you going to structure your way to find out your next step?
So this is very it's something I do. I structure, I organize all the time. So I have a to-do list for today and tomorrow to send a couple of messages to some friends about their like jobs, or have like a call or a coffee. That's like I'm not trying to get inspiration from everywhere. In the meantime, I go on LinkedIn and I like apply to jobs that look really like good. That when I read the job titles and the description and the department and maybe like sometimes the benefits and how the house is, I apply. I take my time applying. When I find something I really like, I apply online and I look in my LinkedIn contacts if I have anyone. If not, I'll try to look at like the HR people, try to find the email, try to find something, because obviously if I want to apply to Celine, I know someone there and I can maybe ask for the HR email. Same with Balenciaga, I can try to find someone there and have it. So that's kind of the process. And behind all of that, I'm reading like a book about about personality types. It's like the Miles personality types, and it's a book about try to finding a job that fits your personality. And I'm like reading it, discovering things about myself, discovering how I work and how I like to work. And I think it's really important for me to have this knowledge to then go to an interview. When they ask me like talk about yourself, I don't come with like the standard story of my life. I can maybe come with a more structured story of my life, a pitch that literally says who I am, how I work, and what am I good at.
Okay, so those are a really great point. I like that you use the network to kind of find new insights about the jobs and things like that. I think it's really interesting what you said, the book you're reading. Not so much about the book per se, because that's kind of what interests you, but it's what the insight behind it, in my opinion. It's like knowing about yourself or knowing yourself better it's going to be a source of awareness to where you can go, it fuels the criteria for you to decide if this position is good for you, because you have a clear understanding of how you work, what are the skills that you bring, how you can use them the best way possible, and that, as you say, in an interview process, that's going to be key for the recruiter to understand. Okay, this candidate, it's great for this position, and he knows exactly what he's going to leverage and bring to the company. So I think it's great between the journaling that you do, that you know yourself very well, and the inputs that you have through books or other things that fuel that kind of more inner understanding of who you are, in order to get to the professional career and the next steps. I think it's a great way of doing it.
Exactly. Like, I think everyone, definitely when you're young, definitely starting in fashion, you try to mold yourself to the job title or mold yourself to the job, while it's good. Like, it's good to know where you want to improve as a person and where you want to go. But I think this new kind of thinking, which I feel in this like new generation that comes up, it's that the job molds itself to you, and you just need to find out what you like within the job, and then grow from these areas. Obviously, if you want to do merchandising, and you have to do Excel, learn Excel. Step one, learn Excel, open Excel, find YouTube, and do it. Like, it's easy as 1, 2, 3, and you now also have like trainings to be a merchandiser. And that's the thing. Like, if you really if you think this is right for you, you'll mold yourself in terms of hard skills, but like soft skills, who you are, how you work, that's all you. And sometimes it's more important than the hard skills. So that's like my mentality now, that I really had to like stop thinking about how do I mold myself to this job, is how does the job mold to me, and where do I need to what hard skills do I need to acquire to get there?
Oh, it's true. It's a really good point. But like being really clear about what you need to do that job, and beyond would I feel happy there, or would I feel good? Yeah, that's one side. But at the end of the day, what you're gonna do, maybe it's focusing on that specific hard skill, how to acquire that. And then you have all the soft skills and your personality that's going to make the position and the people want to work with you in it. But at the end of the day, they want the hard skill first.
Yeah.
At least.
Exactly. They want the hard skills. It's kind of like they want the product. Kind of like you want to buy cookies. Great. You need all the ingredients for the cookies. How is a customer gonna buy your cookie is the packaging that is your personality.
Yeah,
it's a very metaphor.
But it's I like the way you see it. It's at the end you want a bag, that's the hard skill, something you can put stuff on, and then you want I want the bag in red, big, small, like you choose. But at the end you want something to put your phone and your wallet in. It's a great. So what would you say, kind of to wrap up a little bit this episode, what are the skills, the insights or advice you would give somebody finishing their studies, looking for the jobs for the first time, or already have one job, and there is that unknown, that anxiety, and trying to figure out the next step, because you have done a little bit more than them. What are insights would you give them?
I think the inside is 100%. You don't need to be perfect. It's okay to not know things. It's okay to fail sometimes. Not getting a job is okay. It's just keep learning, keep being curious about the fashion, about yourself. Another insight is be persevering. If you want this kind of job, just look up how you can get this job. There's so much information now with the internet. You can find a way to get this job. And yes, you will get rejected, but that just means it's not right for you. And I think like another insight is work on your CV that it represents you. Like it's something like that. Like it's like I get CVs now, and I'm like, I look at them and like, you could have done this better. Like I see what you're trying to do, but please, like sometimes I want to call them and like, please do this better, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not their life coach. But like I'm like, oh, like you could have done this better, like, and ask honestly, ask for help. There's people out there that can help. And I would have never been here without those people. Not without my friends, not without the people in IFM, not without like my parents or whatever. I would never like ask for help because you are not supposed to know everything. And
yeah, those are a great insight. Just to circle back on the CV, what as somebody that recruits now, what do you look into in a CV? What are the 3 important things for you that you look at?
Structure, because if your CV is not structured, that means that you're not structured, and you don't want to give that up. Being clear about skills. Let's say the skill that you learned at a particular job. Precise, be very precise. Like if you did have some numbers to give, put some numbers. Also, like people say this is bullshitting, but it's not really bullshitting. Like it's in my opinion like a growth mindset thing. If you like a media job from Zara, like I don't say like the minor things. I see what I did, and I see like, okay, what can this bring to the company, and I put it on my CV. If it doesn't bring anything to the job search, I don't put it. That, and then I think the small text, have a small text, very precise. Really think about like your skill, what you want. Put what you want, where you want to go, because it's sometimes you feel it's like. Also, don't say like if you're applying for a merchandising job, like I want to be a merchandiser. It's like it's not standing out. Try to stand out. Why do you want to be a merchandiser? Go for the why, and I will read it. If you just say I want to be a merchandiser, I'm like, no, I'm like, great, but you're not saying anything. You want your CV to say something about you, and don't hold back on hobbies and interests, because you think you don't think that we read them, but we do read them, and we don't judge them, but we think, oh, they're into this. I'm also into this. I would love to see this person. Oh, they like this. Oh, I've read about this book or this artist. I want to look into it. So that's like the CV tips. And I think another, I want to like not a CV tip, but I nearly forgot. It's like people romanticize working in fashion. It's not romantic at all. Like nothing about my job is romantic. I am the most structured person ever. I write everything down. My off days are planned, like literally like when I do what. My days of work are planned. My meetings are planned, even though it's anxiety ridden. Everything is like structured in a certain sense. And a lot of times I'm just behind my desk. Nothing is romantic. Yes, a romantic thing is sometimes I see beautiful clothes every day. But for the rest, I'm just doing my job like any other worker, like any other sandwich maker, like any other person working in finance. That you're just doing a job, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's the last tip.
Yeah, no, it's true. They are good ones. I love all the tips you gave on the CV and the resume, because there is so many different ways to look at it, but at least to have the point of view of somebody that recruits it's really important. So I like what you said, the structure, say something specific about what you're going to bring to the company. And if you don't have all the skills, at least put the why you want to be in that position, and connect through the hobbies and the thing like that, because as you said, that's the part that kind of people work with people. They don't work with just skills. So if you have a hobby and I have the same, it creates already a bond and a link.
Yeah.
And you never know what it could bring you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always say your experiences and education will get you through the HR, and your interest and profession and all the hobbies will get you through the team.
Great summary. I love it. I might steal that one. It's a really good one. So thank you a lot, Tim. We spent a lot of time chatting, and like always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you a lot for being so authentic and transparent about your journey, the good parts, the hard parts, and also sharing with us like all the different tips and insights that you have acquired along the way. I've learned a lot, so it's great, and I hope the people who are listening to us learn a lot.
Yeah.
And just to conclude, I wish you the best in the next position. I'm sure you have all the skills to find what you want. Like always, we stay in touch.
Yeah.
And thank you a lot again for your time.
I want to thank you too. Like I said, I'm an extroverted thinker, and talking is my way of thinking. So this has been 2 hours of thinking for me. So I want to thank you for like I just want to say, like, you have been helping me since the beginning of my career, and it's so refreshing that we can still have these deep thoughts and thinking and talking about the industry even today. And it's been, I think, 2 years, like a 2 years journey. So that's really nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I appreciate Tim. Yeah, it was a pleasure for me to be able to dig in as a fashion geeks that we are.
Yeah, it's fine.
So perfect. So let's stay in touch, and maybe let's have a part 2 when you have your next position and see where you are.
Yeah, 100%. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you had as much fun as Tim and I. If I had to summarize what I've learned in this episode, I would say 1. At any stage of your career, your curiosity and desire to learn are the most powerful asset you could have. 2. When you start a new position, accept the fact that there is a learning curve and that your mistakes are not an illustration of who you are, they are just an information on something you haven't mastered yet. 3. Starting a practice of introspection is probably one of the most valuable investments you can do early in your career. If you are hearing this, that means you are still listening. So I want to take a moment and give you a big thank you for trusting me and this project. I know how much your time is valuable. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. This is the most efficient way to help us grow and entice people to listen to the show. If you have any question or want to know more about the podcast, please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn at Lucas SILVA EDWARDS. In the next episode, I will receive Isabella Carasa. We will talk about the position of buyer inside the department store and how to use your curiosity and passion as a red thread to build your career strategy. Last but not least, please feel free to drop in the comment section any advice, improvement points, or even topics you wish to see covered in this podcast. Until next time, I wish you a wonderful day.